it's incredible to see teams from every division just like come to the stage and eat down. And your team just came in and ate down, and it was just
Thank you.
so much fun to see. So I'm excited to just learn a little bit more about like the culture, the history, and then of course all the questions that I prepared for you.
Right,
But
right.
first, I want to just get started. Tell us about the program. Tell us about yourself. How did you get started? All of the fun stuff.
So, a little bit about the program first. We're actually primarily like a traditional Texas drill team. So, we have 45 full team members. We started in 1960. So, this school year we celebrated 65 years, a huge homecoming thing, all the alumni coming and attempting to still like high kick safely on the football field. But they traditionally do, we do like the high kicks at halftime, fringe and the cowboy boots and the hats and the high kick line. And then we march in parades year round. And then basketball season, of course, like we're at every home basketball game. We do some soccer, some volleyball. And then this weekend, I think by the time this goes out, maybe last week, we have a 25 number like full spring production that we do for the
Oh, wow.
community and alumni and fans. Yes, so we've been selling out our auditorium the last couple of years, so we're like moving to a bigger venue. It's a really huge thing. So it's a chaotic time for like traditional cardettes. But we have our cardette showgirls, which is what I know everyone was exposed to at the College Classic. And so they're like a smaller competition team within the group. So instead of I think most traditional college dance teams, you'll be selected for a mat, or maybe you might end up being an alternate, but typically the whole team is part of the competition experience. Half of our team isn't even in the practices for competition. They're like strictly
Oh,
only game day, which they still have plenty to do between the parades and the show and the games. But our competition team only gets to practice Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays from January until April, because the rest of the year is fully focused on the whole team. So while most teams are maybe doing competition choreography in like October, November, getting ready for the spring, we're doing choreography when we come back from winter break in January. And then we have like 9, 10 weeks to make it happen. Just because, our school at the end of the day, they want us to do well at the College Classic, but our primary focus and why we were created was to like entertain the community and be at games and do it in that like big 45 person giant kick line capacity. So that's kind of like the full program history. And then the showgirls, they started the first year of the College Classic going in 2017. That was our first time like really competing at the national level. And to my knowledge, based on conversations I've had with Abby Joe, I think we're the only team that has been to every College Classic. So next year we're excited to celebrate 10 years alongside with DTU. So that's pretty special. So showgirl history, we've won 10 titles since 2017, since the first year. So we're really proud of that, having to move kind of quickly. Luckily, we've had a few years where we've won multiple divisions, so that's been really great. And then I didn't come into the program until 2019. So my college graduation from the dance team I was on was May, and then by August I was starting with the program as an assistant coach. And then my first year coaching as an assistant was the pandemic. So I didn't get to go to the College Classic. We didn't have our like normal year. My second year, we were able to go. And then the head coach of 20 years, she ended up deciding to leave the program the week before school started. So I was 24.
wow.
And yes, I was 24. I'd been assisting for 2 years. I was not an alumni of this school. I did go to a community college before I went to a D1 and did the drill team thing, but not at Trinity Valley. So I had never done I'd done the D1 competition and I'd done junior college drill team, but I never been somewhere like TVCC. So I had 1 year to like learn the College Classic, figured out as an assistant, got thrown into it at 24. You know how it can go with just administration and the paperwork. So
Oh,
it took
yeah.
2 years to get me an assistant after I was the assistant. So from age 24 to 26, I was coaching alone, which was diabolical. I'm like a few years older than the team. Yeah, so I had to learn fast and I had to really learn to be
Yeah.
resourceful. I know like one of the things is I cut all of our music, I do all of our choreography. Most of our costumes that have rhinestones, we do after we receive the costume so that, we can make it a little bit more affordable and just put in, the elbow grease to do it ourselves. So it's taught me a lot about how to, learn a lot of coaching skills very quickly, which I think has really like helped our program. So I'm fortunate to have been here now 7 years. This is my 5th year as the head coach. So I've been a part of quite a few of the national titles, but that's kind of my long backstory on the full
Yeah.
program, the Cardette Showgirl competition
Yeah.
program, and then myself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of like curveballs you were thrown. First, I mean, the COVID story, getting
Yes.
started and then that being the start is like
Hmm.
I was coaching already at the time and I felt like my head was going to blow up with trying to find
Right.
every single opportunity to get training into your dancers.
Yeah.
So, major props to you. What do you
Thank
think
you.
it is that really sets up like the standard that you're building? Because it was built before you and then it's
Right.
continuing to build with you. Like what is that secret sauce that you guys have to be prepared for an April event with only 10 weeks to prepare?
Right.
DTU has officially launched their annual Road to Nationals contest to provide an opportunity to earn funding towards your Nationals experience. DTU's motto, "We're here for you," continues their commitment to supporting teams. This is the first of many opportunities DTU has set in place to make your Nationals journey smoother in the DTU For You initiative. So check out how you can enter by visiting danceteamunion.com.
I think one of the standards that was set before I got here for sure is and it kind of goes along with like the traditional drill team aspect. I know all dance teams are known for kind of representing their school well, being the people on campus that are super polite, you know, going out to be the face of the university, like out in the community. I know a lot of teams of course have that standard that's required of them, but you know, our high level of like discipline, I feel like really sets us apart from a lot of other teams. I know a lot of the Southern teams, like they say, yes, ma'am. One tradition that was set
Mhm.
in the 80s, long before I was here, is our team, when they respond to me, we, you know, during practice, like we have fun on water breaks and we take our minute to breathe, but we're not speaking unless it's like if I give a note and I'm like, hey, your knee is looking funky, what's going on? The response is some teams do yes, ma'am, we do thank you. And so the directors that
Oh,
started that before me, it's kind of a way to just not, yes, ma'am, you know, I'll straighten my knee, whatever, but thank you for taking the
yeah.
time to help me be better. And like, I appreciate getting feedback instead of it being seen as a negative. So that's one big thing is like just that discipline and, you know, being a team player, you know what I mean? Coming in and they're always a certain amount of minutes early, like just those dance and especially like tight drill team standards. They start off the year learning like when the whistle blows and we do the band halftime show thing, you're on the left foot on the certain count and we walk out military style. So I think just really that sense of togetherness has really helped kind of set that standard high. And there's no like solo stars. Now, you might get a special 4 counts in the
Mm.
routine, but making sure that like everyone has to be successful. If one girl is off on the wrong foot in that kick line during football season, you can see it from a mile away. So that sets the tone really early, that it takes everyone being like a perfect clone while still having like our individuality, having our fun together, but really performing in that way. That really helps. And then I would say one thing in more recent years that kind of has helped with our standard is 3 years ago we got moved into the athletic department, which for our school that was
Wow,
like a thank
congratulations.
God. Yes.
Yeah.
And so our we got a new college president and he was like, y'all are competing, why are you in fine arts? Which is no shade to fine arts, we have a great fine arts department. But the way that I coach was a little more, you know, aggressive, and there's a little bit more like loud, like come on let's go, that's not typical in like a fine arts space. And so
Yeah.
for me to kind of have that community now with you know, I'm always with the other head coaches, me being able to learn from the football staff. And our basketball team won the NJCAA men's basketball championship last year. Our sports teams are consistently in the top 10 between softball, volleyball, both of our basketball teams in the final four this past year. My head basketball men's coach, he calls it the Olympic Village, is what we compare Trinity Valley to. So I think the standard of, you know, and our cheer team also competes a different competition, but they won the small and large co-ed divisions like the day before we were going into our college classic competition. So we're sitting there taking a water break from practicing in the convention center, watching the results and seeing them win. And then, the girls are like, oh, yay. And after a couple seconds, I'm like, okay, if you want that to be you, get back up, go get back in formation, So everyone is so excellent at the sport that they do. And so for us to be part of the athletics community and, be a part of what they do and like know the other sports on campus, we do joint team bonding with them a lot. That's something I started a few years ago. So before homecoming in the fall, like we'll get with the football team and a football coach will like kind of coach us through football a little bit, and we're not good at it, but it just kind of helps build that camaraderie. And back home, everyone is watching us on the College Classic live stream. Like all the sports teams, they care about what dance is doing, and that standard of just being like a great athletic school really helps my team specifically like stay on that high. Like we're one of the last teams of the year that gets to compete, so we want to end on a good note and like go out with a natty, of course. So and we were able to do that this year.
Yeah. I'm if you see me looking over here, I'm writing notes down because there's questions
You're
that I'm
fine.
thinking of that I want to ask. So I just want to make sure I let you know that.
It's very unique.
What
So yes, I understand.
I love that. Okay, this is a great team bonding for anyone out there because when I danced pro for the NBA, we actually did that. We went and the basketball trainers for the team took us through like drills, and it was like one of
Yeah.
the most memorable team bondings that I've probably ever done. I want to ask because it sounds like with your team being so drill, a lot of those athletes that are coming into your program probably already have that drill background, or do some of them have a studio background, then transition to drill? Like what is the background you're pulling for your athletes or from your athletes?
Oh,
Before we continue on with the show, make No Counts Given your go-to summer dance podcast. We're talking industry interviews, routine highlights, hot topics, blind items, and all the dance news you need to know. Whether you're on your way to practice, headed to camp, driving to your next choreography job, or just need to hear a relatable voice in the dance world, we've got you covered all summer long. So do me a favor, subscribe, like, leave us a 5-star rating, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss a single episode.
a lot of my athletes, I will say, we do recruit obviously based on talent, but one of the huge
Hmm.
things is we want to make sure we offer really good scholarships. Every single
Oh,
person
cool.
on my roster gets a scholarship. We got to spread it out for 45 next year. It'll be 55 on my full team.
Wow.
But every single athlete gets a scholarship, and it's pretty significant. 5 times what I got as a D1 captain when I was, getting a
Wow.
scholarship. So it in your community
It's a
college.
ton.
Yes, and that community college cost is significantly lower. So a lot of the girls that I'm recruiting mostly didn't come from a background where they could maybe like afford, and myself included for a big portion
Mm,
of my life, they're like learning off the YouTube tutorials and like watching the Technique Tuesdays that like some of the D1s will do on Instagram, and they're working on those skills really by themselves a lot of the time. I have very few that are studio trained. A lot of my girls they maybe wouldn't go to college, and they tell me this themselves as we're going through the recruiting. They may not have the opportunity to get a post high school education at all if it weren't for the low cost of a community college and then also getting that scholarship. So that's one of our biggest things. Is like at the end of the day, we are a school, and so we really prioritize the education part. We have one of the highest GPAs on campus. Our competition team GPA is a 3.85, and so we're
wow.
we that standard is just, it goes across the board, everything we do. Recruiting wise, there's not a lot of girls that I recruit that if they had the financial means to maybe go to studio, then a lot of them have the financial means that they're like, I'm
Mm,
moving out of state and I'm going D1, and they have that great talent level. My other girls are talented, but the majority of them only did high school or middle school drill team. And so they have like literally learned a double turn like through drill team practice, maybe a switch leap. They got a jump split down because they've been doing it since they were 12 on the middle school team. But there is so much extra training that goes into obviously getting them skill level ready to compete against teams that maybe in the fall like they're doing hip hop or pom on the field. We don't get to do that. We have to dance with the band and like do the, step touch, big props, the big production. So we lose a lot of time. And so that's something that really pressures us to like move with a purpose. And that also really drives my choreography. There's my team is so talented, and they know this. I tell this to their face, but a lot of my choreography has to be really strategic, like some smoke and mirrors going on. You know what I mean? Maybe some
Yeah.
girls that are struggling to hang in on the triple, but I got to hit that score sheet. So how can I make sure that I hit the score sheet, tell the story, and put their best foot forward and not ask them to do skills that we're not prepared to do? So,
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on your choreography again because I want to ask because you're the one building these routines.
right.
What, especially in this season, take me through some of your routines. Like, what parts of these routines were built to like stand out, make a moment, create a wow moment, and leave like that
Yeah.
memorable impression?
So I will say one of the things that for starters, like I mentioned earlier, I do our music. So I really have seen throughout the years, I'm listening to the judges' feedback at the college classic, after prelims going into finals. And there were a few years like earlier on where I would, use maybe songs that were a little bit older, maybe from like the 80s, so that I knew most of the judges on that panel, whether they were younger and they knew it as a classic, or if they were maybe a little wiser. I don't like to say older, but maybe a little wiser, demographic of judge. Something that like they grew up hearing so that they can like immediately identify with the song. And it's easy for them to, we had one this year, for example, jazz. So I chose Total Eclipse of the Heart. I feel like that's pretty like
Mhm.
familiar to a large like age
Yeah.
range of people. And my thought and my like little cheat code worked. There was a judge that multiple that as soon as the song started, they were like, oh, I can't wait. This is great. Like, love this music, which is
Yeah.
awesome to hear. But one of them was referring to a moment that we had just had and was trying to give us some like choreography notes of something she would like to see. And she sang the part of the music that she was referring to rather than trying to explain that formation where you kind of did the this. She was able to say on the la 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 da da da, and was like singing the
Yeah.
words. And I knew exactly what she was referring to. And I also hoped that for her, that like stuck with her a few extra minutes, like finishing up that score sheet at the end. So that's like one trick that I try to use. So I want the like music to be wow for sure. I mean, who doesn't? But I want it to be wow for not only the audience but the judges, because again, I'm trying to be really
Yeah.
strategic. And then for Palm, we did a mixture of like 80s songs. We had an Iron Man themed Palm, and so that was really exciting. I'm a huge like Marvel nerd, so I've been waiting for that one for a while. So I did, we had the traditional Back in Black from the Iron Man 1 movie, I Am Iron Man, Black Sabbath, a lot of older ones again. So as soon as the judges heard like the first couple beats, they're, oh, this song, yes, here we go, let's go. I'm excited, keeping it lively. So honestly, for me, I would say the wow moments are the music. Before I even start, I really try to be strategic with the music. And then B, I know for some teams, like we talked about earlier, it's like, oh, that big term section, those turns, whatever it is, like that iconic moment. I tell my team, because there are so many things going on throughout the routine, that well, one thing that I talk about a lot is like recovery. There may be a skill that like
Yeah.
we're really pushing our limit on it, but if you get a quarter count to fix it and the judge looks that way and you don't show it on your face, then we're golden. So I know there's a lot that
Yeah.
can happen from like A to B, but I really focus on my wow moments actually being my beginning 8 count and my ending 8 count, which I know is not typical, but that's what works for us, and it's worked on the score sheet, and it's worked for like crowd entertainment value. So just our opening of our jazz, like a lot of different groups, pretty shapes, pretty pictures. The ending of our jazz, I edited the music to where it goes a cappella with no background, so they have to just count in their imagination and be right on the money. They ended with a big like breath in a line,
Uh-huh.
just something like really memorable and powerful. And then Palm, we started with a little speaking part from Jarvis, a little voice audio thing I edited, a couple back tucks, very athletic, and like, the storytelling, the athleticism, a super slow-mo body roll, which you don't see in Palm. Usually it's go, go, go. So I was like, let's go slow motion. Like that's something that sets us apart. And then the
Yeah.
ending for Palm was the punch the ground, like Marvel superhero kind of effect. So I know for a lot of people, it's, oh, the stunt, the turn section. We have this one formation that is like our visual, like home run. And I try to include those along the way. But honestly, for me, it's like, what do they start out with? How engaged are our audience and judges? And then that ending 8 count, like, are they going to forget maybe what they saw on that bobble on that triple turn and instead be like, holy cow, I'm going to remember that the rest of the day. And, judges are human. I judge, I know for you.
Yeah.
So we get it. So I'm like, I want them to forget about the bobble, and I want them to be boom, punch the ending at the ending 8 count. So I think that's what
Absolutely.
I would say I try to focus on, is like the wow moments, is really the opener and the closer, more than something diabolical in the middle with like a team aerial. That's just not something we're able to do
Yeah,
yet. So I gotta use my creativity to kind of mask some of those things.
absolutely. Yeah. Take me through like the emotions and how your team was feeling throughout the weekend, going in from prelims, coming out to finals. How was your team doing?
As a coach, I think that dance is evolving, and I don't know if the competition world and industry is pushing to get the change. This is how it's done, this is our protocol, this is what we do.
The industry is lacking creativity. The story that was always told to us is, well, it's been this way for many years.
We want your money, we want your team. Here's your box. We don't want you to do any more.
Certainly organizations didn't appreciate my kids and didn't allow them to grow. I'd always felt like they'll just replace you with another team. Like an abusive relationship, the cycle needed to end.
DTU is setting the tone for what the path forward should be.
Even though it was scary, it was the right choice to make the jump. I saw weight lifted off of my kids and they felt hungry again.
We are like a complete 180 of a program.
Because of Dance Team Union's philosophy, everyone in the school has more respect for the dance team.
From registering for camp all the way through the nationals.
DTU is going to support you.
And make your program better. What do you need? What can we do for you? How can we help your dancers?
They build us up as coaches and they're like, go out there and just do your job.
That was us. That is the best you've ever done.
Anyone that comes into the DTU family will feel that they have a personal relationship with the DTU staff.
At the end of nationals, I get a phone call from somebody and we have an honest conversation.
Very transparently, we love this, we don't love this.
And I'm heard.
There is so much freedom
With music and costuming.
choreography rules.
They want you to go out there and be the boldest team that you can be.
When I think about what we have now that we didn't before, it's a voice.
What those kids really can do is so much more than what you see on a sideline. It's their time to shine.
They feel like the stars of the show.
They were seen and respected and empowered.
That's going to give you that push to go out there and perform a little bit bigger. That's where you see breakthrough.
Give the people what they want.
If you want phenomenal communication,
If you're sick of your dancers not being heard,
If you're serious about change, be part of the change.
Break the mold. We're not in a box. We can be bold and we can be ourselves.
Be you. It's one of the best decisions that I've made as a dance coach.
I'm so happy to be here right now.
Yeah, I think prelims they were super proud, but all of them for us being a 2-year school, some junior community colleges allow like 3rd years and you can kind of like work that academically. I do not. I have a hard rule that I'm like, I know that you feel comfortable being like the sophomore here and like you've done 2 years here and you want to like play it safe, but I'm like academically, socially, like you need to get away from the 18, 19-year-old bubble.
Yeah.
Like you need to go spread
Yeah.
your wings and like fly and not like drag out our academics because we feel safe being like a 3rd year. So I'm very much like you need to go be brave and like try out for your next team or go to your next school. So the only athletes, only half, maybe 10 of my athletes have even taken the DTU mat before. And then the other half, like they get 1 weekend to do it and then one more and then they're done. Unless they're, they're gonna try out for some of those D1 teams, which some do. But again, not all can. A lot of them they get that community college degree and that's it for their career. So they're very like they get on the prelims mat. The vets, have the nerves. They've been through it before. The rookies are like, I have no idea what to expect. I'm so scared. We try to like take pictures of the venue and we're like, okay, like this is what you're walking into. But at the end of the day, you can't really prepare for like an arena with that much excitement and like enthusiasm in your tiny practice room. So they get out there and after prelims, they did the typical like, wow, we were very proud of what we saw on the video board backstage. We came out of prelims in first place in both, which was great. But they had all those little like, okay, now that my nerves are out of the way and my tummy feels settled, like I want to go again right now. And I'm like, where was that energy at practice when you were like dying after you're full out? But it's fine. So they get all the hype. They're like so proud. They come off the mat and they're like, I want to go again. And so, waiting that like 24 hours. This year we had to be a little creative. We were jazz first and then pom on day 1. but day 2 it was pom and then jazz, and it switched for us.
Mhm.
So making sure that, you know, I have all those jazz notes like ready to go, like ready to make those changes, and I kind of had to like put it on hold, lock in on pom, wake up and do like a super powerful superhero pom at the crack of dawn. You know, you know the drill from coaching, like 4 a.m. wake
Yeah.
up call, here we go, got to get it done. So they were feeling really excited about the score, about their placement, about getting the chance. Like, I'm ready to go out and seal the deal for finals. And we're fortunate with our division being community and junior college. It's smaller, so we don't have to go through the semifinal situation, which I know is, it can be great, but I know it can be tough, you know, three times in a weekend. So knowing that we were going to get into finals and being able to prepare for that, they were excited. But that 8 a.m. pom, that was tough because our one of our big rival teams, they were in second place in the 3 categories they compete in. Their closest score was to us in pom. So I told my team, I was like, if I was their coach, I would be doing pom until 3:00 tonight. You know what I mean? Like, we're right there. That's the closest one. So they're going to wake up wanting to kick your butt. And we've won pom the last 2 years as well. So I knew they were going to have to work hard for a three-peat. You know, everybody's out to get them at that point in that pom division, in that pom category. And, you know, like I said, if I were the second place team right now and that were my closest thing, I'd be up all night, pom, 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 pom. And so they had that pressure and they took it and they ran with it. And they really made it happen. Same with jazz. Our battle, that wasn't our best, and we acknowledged that. We were like, you know what, it was an experience, and like we're proud. We're always cheering on the other teams at the battle, so to have the opportunity was great. But you know, it's a little funky and tricky. You get a quick warm up, you're kind of sitting there for a while getting cold, so that wasn't maybe our like best like weekend ender performance, which was unfortunate. But you live and you learn. They're 18 and 19, you know what I mean? Like they're just learning how to like grow under pressure. But we're very proud of like our finals prep, and they worked hard, and I think it showed. Our finals routines I was very, very happy with.
Yeah. Last question I have for you. What's next? What's next for your team? You're finishing off the season. When does the new season actually like really kick off for you guys, or tryouts, recruitment? What's next for your team?
Yeah, so we for next year have already signed our freshman class will be about 30 next year. So we've already signed about 20 of those 30 doing like early video submissions and things. So we'll fill those last couple spots at an in-person tryout this summer. And then unfortunately for my assistant coach, for my wife, we don't really have like a summer break. We're all just all hands on deck, and I always joke my wife is on my staff too. She's working on a prop for that show I was talking about earlier. Right now she's at the shop like building a giant rock formation. So really for all of us, like the staff and the unofficial staff, it is just go go go. We're really excited. We'll be at Prodigy this year for the first time, being able to recruit there, which is really cool. We'll be
Do you know which
doing
location?
the Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so we'll be down south. And then we have a local program here, Texas College Dance Team Connection, that does a couple of like clinic things for recruiting. And that is actually run by my college coach, TJ Maple at SFA. So it's fun to like get to go now as a coach and appear alongside him and recruit there. And then we get straight into like football season. We have a new dorm being built right now, so our move-in, we're excited about the new dorm. It'll be Cardettes only, 2 floors of just our team, 55 girls. Please pray for me. But it's, you know, it's a huge, exciting like opportunity, but our move-in's a little later because of the dorm completion date. So I'm like, summer camp is like crunch. Summer camp will probably be up all day, all night. And then just getting into football season, we have a big parade this summer. It's America's 250th Independence Day. So we're taking the whole team, not just the competition team, to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We'll be marching in a parade there July 3rd, and then July 4th for Independence Day, we'll be in Washington, D.C., marching in a parade there in the Capitol. So there's literally always something going on. But competition wise, my routine's already planned for next year. I get so inspired at the College Classic, watching the battle, watching the D1 teams. Everyone is so creative, which it's a blessing, like, to be that inspired, but also a curse. You know, one week I'll come home and tell my wife, like, this is the best dance I've ever made. And like, I'll change 4 counts. The next week I'm like, I'm a fraud. I'm not even a choreographer. It's awful. You know, like just the back and forth. Leaving the College Classic and knowing that the judges believed in my choreography really gets me, like, feeling good about the new year, watching all the incredible teams. I know Jesse was on the other week. Like, watching Rage and Jazz, like, oh my God, our girls are just like, I want to do game day like that. Like, you know, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we have to high kick. Like, I didn't choose this 65 years ago, but it's just so inspiring to see the other teams. So I'm competition ready, but I have to put it on hold until next January when we have like that small group tryout. But our program as a whole, representing like the whole college, is just like full speed, all gas, no brakes. And I know that's how it is really for every dance team. Like, I think most schools, you know, for all of us, it's a year round, sometimes very little credit, but the longest season of any sport. So really meeting in the community at the College Classic, like I already mentioned, like talking to the other coaches, I know we're all in it together. So that makes me feel like, you know, we can all get through the push. But yeah, summer is going to be all gas, no brakes, recruiting parade, and then getting into the fall.